The first lesson of power is quiet, deliberate, almost surgical. Give them less, control them more. Do not mistake abundance for loyalty. The more you offer, the more they take for granted, and the less they fear the weight of your judgment. In the theater of influence, scarcity is authority, restraint is dominance. Those who demand everything are seldom satisfied with what you freely grant. Learn to withhold. Measure each gift, each concession, each word of reassurance, for they are the instruments of your authority as much as your armies or your laws. Do not confuse generosity with weakness. To give freely is to open yourself to the erosion of control. The one who understands restraint is feared not for cruelty, but for discretion. The mind that grasps this knows that power resides not in the applause of the crowd, but in the quiet calculation that precedes every choice. Let them see the shadow of what they desire, but never the full form. Let them hunger for your attention, your favor, your permission, until they bend instinctively to the architecture you have designed. Ambition is not sated by comfort. Those who serve without need become restless. Those who fear loss remain loyal. Every concession you withhold is a subtle assertion of control, a reminder that the machinery of influence is not theirs to command. To give too much is to teach them mastery. To withhold is to teach obedience. Observe the trembling calculation in their eyes, the whispered strategies, the alliances formed in secret. These are the signals of understanding. You are not merely distributing favors. You are mapping the boundaries of desire, the geography of dependence. The calculus is always the same. Desire is the currency of power. Those who possess it must decide how much to release and how much to keep unseen. A ruler who saturates the world with his gifts breeds entitlement, dulls the instinct of caution, and sows the seeds of betrayal. Restraint, on the other hand, sharpens vigilance, molds expectation, and forges loyalty from necessity rather than sentiment. Control is never passive. It is an exercise in architecture, in the deliberate shaping of behavior before it manifests. Do not fear the silence that follows withholding. Let them interpret it as displeasure, uncertainty, divine calculation. Your absence of affirmation becomes a tool, a mirror in which their ambition and insecurity are reflected. In this reflection, they reveal themselves, their weaknesses, their desires, their plots. To withhold is not mere denial, it is observation. It is the cultivation of intelligence without confession. It is the discipline of power exercised invisibly, yet palpably, in every interaction. Remember, the world is not bound by virtue, it is bound by consequence. Those who have learned to act without reward will act without fear. Those who have been restrained will measure every move against the potential of loss. In this calculus, power is preserved, influence is deepened, and control becomes the silent pulse that governs the loyalty and fear of men and women alike. To give too much is to invite chaos. To withhold is to shape order. The art lies not in the abundance you distribute, but in the restraint you maintain. Every gesture, every concession, every whisper of favor carries, meaning only when framed by the weight of what is withheld. Let them think they negotiate. Let them believe they persuade. In truth, you have already set the parameters, and every step they take is a movement within the cage you have designed. Hunger is the lever of obedience, and scarcity is the fulcrum of command. They will learn to watch you, to anticipate your movements, to interpret the spaces between your words. And in doing so, they will surrender a piece of their will without ever realizing it. The subtle architecture of control is always more enduring than the visible display of power. Authority is born not in giving everything, but in giving precisely what shapes behavior, in withholding what ensures dependence, in revealing only what guides action without exposing intention. To master the world, one must master the desire of those who inhabit it. And desire, left untamed, is a dangerous river. To channel it, to measure it, to let it lap against the banks of your control and no further, is the work of the discerning, the calculating, the relentless mind. Power is not the fulfillment of every demand. It is the discipline of necessity imposed upon ambition. Give less, control more, and watch the world bend, not to kindness, but to inevitability. The pulse of power is subtle, and it beats in silence. Those who mistake action for authority are doomed to be consumed by their own gestures. A hand extended too eagerly, a promise repeated too often, a favor granted without calculation, each erodes the scaffolding upon which control rests. The wise understand that the weight of restraint is heavier than the weight of armies. To withhold is to remind the world that power is not shared lightly. It is the measure of patience, of calculation, of presence that lingers without exposure. Every decision, every glance, every pause carries meaning only because it is selective. Those who crave your attention will shape themselves according to the rules you do not voice. Their ambition becomes a canvas upon which you draw with absence, scarcity, and delay. They do not need to be told what is expected. They feel it instinctively, as one feels the tide pressing against the shore. Control does not announce itself in grand declarations. It whispers in the gaps, in the measured silences, in the precise withholding that compels without coercion. Fear is a companion of power, not an enemy. When wielded correctly, it sharpens loyalty without breaking the spirit. It teaches the observer to honor the unseen boundary, to respect the invisible hand. Those who are coddled lose vigilance. Those who are restrained learn caution. To withhold is to create a landscape where ambition and necessity intersect, where every action taken by another is guided by the architecture of your discretion. You are not cruel, you are careful. You are not capricious, you are deliberate. And in this deliberation, you construct dominion that does not rely on force, but on foresight. Observe closely those who circle you. Every request, every suggestion, every complaint is a revelation if you know where to look. By giving less, you compel them to expose their desires. By holding back, you provoke revelation. Ambition, when constrained, becomes transparent. The hand that grasps too hard shows its weakness. The one that resists shows its true strength. In this interplay, you map the human landscape with precision, and each revelation becomes a tool for governance, manipulation, and survival. Yet, restraint is an art, and art demands patience. One misstep, a gift too lavish, a secret shared too soon, a concession made without reason, and the illusion of scarcity collapses. The followers, the allies, even the adversaries, detect the fissure. Desire loses its edge. Obedience slackens. Fear dissipates. Power, once diluted, is hard to recover. Therefore, you measure, you calculate. You withhold, not as punishment, but as strategy. In the economy of influence, scarcity is not suffering. It is leverage. Control is most effective when it is invisible. Let them believe they are acting freely, that they are negotiating, that they are shaping outcomes. Let them carry the illusion of mastery, while every step they take conforms to the boundaries you have quietly defined. The power of withholding is not in the deprivation itself, but in the structure it creates a lattice through which every motion is guided, every decision constrained, every ambition redirected. Understand this. Generosity is visible, but restraint is invisible. The former can be applauded, imitated, envied. The latter shapes minds, molds behavior, and secures loyalty in ways the untrained eye cannot perceive. Give sparingly, speak deliberately, show favor as if it were a rare jewel, and let each offering echo the weight of what remains withheld. The mind, the ambition, the desire of others becomes the instrument of your will when scarcity is your constant companion and restraint your unwavering doctrine. And always remember, those who are restrained will return, seeking what has been denied. Their return is proof of your influence, their pursuit, a confirmation of your power. Each approach, each request, each act of submission is a testament to the architecture you have imposed without force, without spectacle, without apology. To give too much is to invite indifference. To withhold is to cultivate dependence. To control through scarcity is not cruelty, it is mastery. They will test you, as they always do, not openly, not with swords or accusations, but with subtler instruments, whispers, hesitation, the quiet calculus of expectation. Every pause you allow, every favor you withhold, becomes a measure of their resolve. The untrained ruler fears the silence, the master observes it. In the stillness between desire and fulfillment, truths emerge. The ambitious reveal their limits, the loyal reveal their hunger, and the treacherous reveal the fractures that only you may exploit. Do not rush to satisfy, for in restraint lies intelligence. To withhold is to teach without speaking, to guide without command. Those who are restrained shape themselves against the boundaries you have imposed. They learn vigilance, humility, and the limits of their reach. The ruler who gives freely often finds himself surrounded by entitlement, flattery, and deception. The ruler who withholds remains unassailable, for he has ensured that the currency of dependence flows in only one direction, toward him. Power is a river, and those who desire it must navigate the channels you have carved. Starve them of certainty, and they will reveal their ambitions. Starve them of indulgence, and they will reveal their fears. Control is not only in what is given or denied, but in the perception of reason. Let them interpret your silence as contemplation, your withholding as judgment, your absence as a test of loyalty. The mind, desperate for meaning, will fill the void with assumptions favorable to your position. In every interaction, you are both architect and observer, shaping behavior invisibly while collecting intelligence in the quiet spaces. The clever leader turns scarcity into guidance, restraint into compliance, and absence into revelation. Do not underestimate the weight of expectation. The more they hunger for what you withhold, the more disciplined they become, and the more secure your dominion. Reward must never be indiscriminate. Favor must never be habitual. Every concession carries a lesson, every grant a price, every gift an invisible tether. Those who are untested grow arrogant. Those who are restrained grow dependent. To master influence, one must manipulate the landscape of desire itself, constructing need where there was comfort, and shaping behavior where there was freedom. Even the most loyal will resent restraint, and that is precisely the point. Resentment, when carefully balanced, sharpens vigilance, ensures obedience, and deepens the impression of authority. Those who serve without satisfaction grow wise to the architecture of control. They measure every step, every gesture, every word against the invisible hand that governs them. Their compliance is no longer casual, it is deliberate. Their ambition, once unbridled, is now channeled along the paths you have silently defined. Every act of withholding is a mirror. They reveal themselves in the spaces you deny. Their whispers, their alliances, their secret calculations, they are the reflection of your power, the proof of your discipline, the evidence that influence has been exercised without spectacle. Those who perceive nothing are the ones already ensnared. Those who plot are merely mapping the terrain you have sculpted. Control is not the absence of ambition, it is the direction of it, guided invisibly, measured meticulously, and imposed without exposure. Do not fear the solitude that accompanies restraint. It is in these spaces that strategy is honed, loyalty is tested, and ambition is sculpted. The ruler who constantly yields loses perspective. The ruler who restrains cultivates intelligence. Give too much, and you breed entitlement. Give too little, and you provoke revolt, but give precisely what calibrates desire, and you become the axis upon which all action pivots. Scarcity is the leverage of obedience. Discipline is the instrument of power. Restraint is the currency of command. And so, in every encounter, in every negotiation, in every whispered request, remember the power of withholding. Give them less, and control becomes more than a strategy. It becomes a law. Those who hunger, those who wait, those who strive, they are instruments of your will, sculpted by absence, guided by scarcity, tethered to the invisible hand that shapes their every step. Power, finally, is not in abundance, nor in generosity, nor in spectacle. It is in the quiet mastery of restraint, the deliberate calibration of desire, and the patient orchestration of dependence. They will try to bargain, to coax, to test the elasticity of your patience, and you must not flinch. Every gesture of appeal is a signal of weakness, unless it is framed by the weight of deliberate restraint. Let them ask, let them plot, let them measure the distance between desire and fulfillment. In their pursuit, they reveal the architecture of their own ambition, the contours of their loyalty, and the fault lines of their fear. Each step they take, within the boundaries you have imposed, is both a confession and a confirmation that power, unseen and unyielding, is your dominion alone. Do not mistake agitation for rebellion. The restless who push against limits do so because they have recognized the strength of the hand that holds. Those who are restrained act in tension, and tension, carefully measured, becomes the instrument of control. Observe the gestures, note the hesitation, understand the calculus of expectation. The master does not punish the ambitious, he shapes them. He does not yield to desire, he channels it. And in this careful orchestration, influence is solidified, allegiance is disciplined, and the machinery of control hums without exposure. Those who appear obedient may be plotting. Those who plot may be obedient. The distinction is subtle, but it is the fulcrum upon which survival and dominion balance. To give too readily is to allow plotting to flourish unchecked. To withhold without calculation is to invite mutiny. The art lies in the precise calibration of scarcity, in the invisible weighting of attention and favor, in the deliberate choreography of expectation. You do not grant loyalty, you command it. You do not offer obedience, you cultivate it through the careful withholding of indulgence. Every favor, every word, every glance must carry consequence. Let them hunger for the morsels you provide. Let them strain to perceive the meaning behind your absence. In this hunger, they surrender instinctively. They bend to the rhythm you dictate, their ambitions molded by the space between your will and their desire. Control is never in the fulfillment alone. It is in the structuring of need, the shaping of want, and the careful orchestration of restraint. Those who think themselves free are often the most obedient, because their choices have been silently guided from the shadows. Power lives in the space between possession and denial. Those who are overfed grow careless. Those who are restrained grow disciplined. Reward must always teach, and punishment must always instruct. The one who understands this is never fully generous, never fully lenient, and never fully exposed. To give too much is to dissolve authority. To give too little is to provoke rebellion. The measure of control is in the precision with which desire is managed, the subtlety with which hunger is directed, and the invisibility of the hand that shapes all movement. Observe the effects of absence, the murmurs of speculation, the cautious realignments of ambition. In these reactions, truth is revealed. They betray their needs in silence, their fears in hesitation, their loyalties in compliance. To withhold is to illuminate character without confrontation, to expose weakness without aggression, to command obedience without speech. Scarcity teaches more than abundance. Restraint instructs more than indulgence. The mind, left to its own devices under limitation, becomes a mirror of power, reflecting the discipline of its master and the reach of his control. Never confuse fear with hate, nor compliance with loyalty. Those who are restrained may resent you, but that resentment is the shadow of respect. Those who desire what is withheld may chafe, but that chafing is proof of the gravity of your presence. Authority is measured not by affection, but by the tension it maintains, by the invisible strings it draws, and by the certainty that every movement is observed, every ambition mapped, and every desire accounted for. Give too freely, and you teach them mastery. Withhold wisely, and you teach them submission. And in this practice, understand that power is less about the battles fought openly than about the silent victories secured in the hearts of those who must serve, obey, and strive. To withhold is not cruelty, it is prudence. To control through scarcity is not oppression, it is strategy. To give less is not denial, it is mastery. Every choice calibrated, every indulgence measured, every absence deliberate. These are the instruments by which dominion is maintained, and by which the subtle pulse of authority governs the restless, the ambitious, and the loyal alike. Patience is the armor of power, and restraint is its sword. Those who press against limits reveal themselves in the tremors of expectation. the flinches of desire, the careful calculations of ambition. Every plea, every attempt to draw you into indulgence is a reflection of your unseen dominion. They believe they act freely, yet each step they take is guided by the invisible boundaries you have imposed. To give too much is to surrender the map of influence. To give too little is to provoke rebellion. But to give precisely what is calculated, and no more, is to command without exposure, to shape without imposition, to master without spectacle. Do not fear discontent. Those who chafe under scarcity are the ones most pliable to structure, most malleable to control. They are the clay that will be molded by the patient hand of strategy. Resentment, if balanced, is a tool, a barometer of influence, a signal that power is acknowledged even in defiance. Let them feel the weight of your restraint. Let them measure the distance between desire and fulfillment. In that measurement, in that tension, they reveal their ambitions, their fears, their loyalty, and their cunning. You do not need to coerce them. You need only withhold, and they will betray themselves. Every encounter is a field of observation. Every request, every negotiation, every subtle insinuation is data. The ruler who yields indiscriminately squanders insight. The one who restrains cultivates intelligence. In the spaces between what is offered and what is withheld, the mind is sharpened, ambitions are clarified, and alliances are tested. Scarcity is the teacher, and restraint is the method. Those who learn under it are disciplined. Those who resist under it are exposed. In either case, power is consolidated, not surrendered. Observe the illusion of freedom you allow. Let them believe they negotiate, they influence, they choose. The truth is otherwise. The architecture of expectation, the invisible lattice of favor and denial, guides their actions before they recognize their own submission. Control is most effective when it is invisible. To be seen as generous is superficial. To be perceived as restrained is authoritative. Give sparingly, speak selectively, reward deliberately. The hand that withholds silently writes the code of obedience into every motion, every word, every desire. Loyalty is tested not in abundance, but in scarcity. Those who remain steadfast under restraint reveal true allegiance. Those who crumble reveal opportunity. Favor must never be habitual. Indulgence must never be predictable. The ruler who offers without calculation loses authority. The ruler who withholds without calculation risks rebellion. But the ruler who measures every interaction, every concession, every silence, commands an empire not with armies, but with the careful orchestration of need. Fear is a companion, not an enemy. Not terror, but the quiet recognition of limitation and consequence. Let them understand that every act of indulgence is rare, every concession exceptional. Let them sense the weight of your absence, the scarcity of your attention, the gravity of your restraint. In this tension, obedience is natural, respect is earned, and ambition is molded into service. Those who crave what is withheld are no longer rivals, they are instruments. Those who strive to anticipate your favor are no longer free, they are disciplined. And in the stillness that follows, in the quiet of deliberate omission, understand this: true mastery is invisible. It is in the shaping of desire, the orchestration of expectation, the careful modulation of presence and absence. Power does not announce itself in gestures or proclamations. It manifests in the compliance, the ambition, the loyalty, and even the resentment of those who perceive your gravity. To give less is to command more. To withhold is to rule. And in the patient exercise of restraint, the architecture of control is complete, the machinery of influence unassailable, and the pulse of authority eternal. Every alliance is a contract written in unspoken rules. Do not confuse the warmth of smiles with sincerity, nor the cadence of words with honesty. The clever will flatter, the cautious will hesitate, and the ambitious will maneuver. All of them operate within the invisible boundaries you have imposed, and it is your task to watch, to measure, and to decide which gestures are permissible and which betray intention. Every conversation is a map, every question a probe, every hesitation a confession. The ruler who gives freely blinds himself to the terrain. The ruler who withholds sees the land as it truly island. Trust is not granted. It is observed, earned, and sometimes manipulated. Those who crave your indulgence are often the ones least worthy of it. Those who appear disinterested may be the most dangerous. To withhold is to reveal without confrontation, to teach without admonishment, to control without display. In the subtlety of absence, the mind bends to the shape of your will. Their ambitions, their fears, their loyalties, they are sculpted quietly, like clay in the hands of a master, each movement guided by the knowledge that reward is scarce and consequence inevitable. Public perception is another weapon of restraint. Let them see your patience, your discernment, your selective generosity. Let them measure your reactions as carefully as you measure theirs. Appear thoughtful when you withhold, decisive when you grant, implacable when tested. The theater of appearances is not deception, it is strategy. Those who watch will assume knowledge you do not share, will anticipate favors you may never grant, and will structure their behavior around the invisible lines you have drawn. In this theater, you are both actor and director, observer and architect. Do not mistake silence for inaction. Every pause is an instrument, every delay a lesson, every measured response a calibration of influence. Those who are untested seek guidance. Those who are tested yield to restraint. Discipline is not taught in abundance, nor obedience in indulgence. It is in the careful modulation of scarcity, in the deliberate timing of reward, in the quiet exercise of invisible authority. To withhold is to govern, to shape, to command. Those who chafe under limitation are not threats, they are instruments, and the tension they produce strengthens the web of control. Even the loyal may resent, and that resentment must be managed. Anger without rebellion signals acknowledgement. Fear without revolt signals recognition of authority. Those who serve under the discipline of restraint become disciplined themselves. Those who resist under its weight reveal their own vulnerabilities. The ruler who understands the anatomy of desire does not need flattery. The ruler who understands the calculus of fear does not need threats. Influence is neither loud nor visible. It is in the measured absence, the precise withholding, the invisible shaping of ambition. Every action, every omission, every gesture must be deliberate. Do not allow generosity to become habit. Do not allow indulgence to become expectation. Scarcity is the teacher, and those who are taught under it reveal the structure of their own character. In every plea, every negotiation, every subtle appeal, the ruler finds knowledge, who is loyal, who is cunning, who is ambitious, who is weak. To give freely is to blind oneself to these truths. To withhold is to illuminate them without confrontation, to expose them without conflict, to command obedience without overt assertion. And so, the power of withholding is not merely strategy, it is law. It is the invisible architecture of influence, the silent orchestration of desire, the patient calibration of expectation. Those who hunger under its weight bend instinctively. Those who plot under its presence reveal themselves. Those who remain loyal under its discipline confirm their allegiance. To give less is not cruelty. To control more is not tyranny. The ruler who understands this has mastered the fundamental truth of power, that authority is exercised most effectively in the space between desire and fulfillment, in the careful modulation of scarcity, and in the patient, remorseless exercise of restraint. Do not be deceived by proximity, nor lulled by familiarity. Those who stand closest to you are often the ones who test boundaries most relentlessly. Observe them not only in speech, but in silence, not only in loyalty, but in absence. Every hesitation, every glance, every subtle adjustment in posture betrays the contours of ambition and the shadow of intent. To give freely to those who are near is to invite subtle usurpation. To withhold is to define the parameters of influence and remind them quietly, inexorably, who commands the center of power. Ambition, like water, seeks the path of least resistance. You do not dam it with force, you channel it with subtlety. Let them feel the shape of your restraint. Let them navigate the space between desire and fulfillment, and in that navigation, their own instincts align with your will. Those who understand this yield voluntarily. Those who resist expose themselves, and those who miscalculate are removed quietly, surgically, without spectacle. The mastery of influence is never brute. It is architectural. It is the design of tension and expectation, the careful modulation of scarcity, the silent governance of instinct. Appearances are the theater in which authority is rehearsed. To allow a display of abundance is to reduce reverence. To allow unchecked indulgence is to erode obedience. Every interaction is a stage, and you are both director and audience. Your absence, your measured provision, your selective attention, all are instruments of control. Let them speculate, let them interpret, let them strive for the favors that will not come without calculation. In this, loyalty is not demanded, it is chosen. Obedience is not forced, it is ingrained. And the machinery of influence operates in silence, invisible, unchallenged, immutable. Fear, subtle and disciplined, is the companion of power. Not terror, but the quiet acknowledgement of limits, the awareness that every request may be denied, every expectation may be recalibrated, and every desire may be suspended. Those who understand this act with care, those who fail to grasp it, reveal themselves. To cultivate such fear is not cruelty, it is strategy. It is the invisible hand that shapes behavior, aligns ambition, and secures allegiance without overt coercion. The ruler who wields fear without spectacle is the ruler whose authority is complete, whose influence is absolute, and whose dominion is sustained. Even loyalty must be tested, for those who serve most obediently are often the first to betray when indulgence becomes entitlement. Let them strive under restraint, let them aspire under scarcity. In the absence of ease, character is revealed, allegiances are clarified, and ambition is disciplined. Reward those who withstand limitation, correct those who falter, and always measure the distance between need and provision. To give without calculation is to dissolve authority. To withhold without discernment is to provoke rebellion. The mastery lies in the precise calibration of both. Every act of withholding is a conversation with ambition itself. It asks, how far will you go? What will you endure? Where do your loyalties truly lie? The answers are never spoken, but always revealed. Those who adapt, who endure, who remain loyal, become the instruments of power. Those who resist, who grumble, who plot, expose their vulnerabilities. In this silent dialogue, influence is secured not through rhetoric, not through spectacle, but through the patient orchestration of scarcity and the invisible shaping of desire. Control is never absolute, nor should it appear so. It is a living, breathing architecture, composed of absence and indulgence, tension and expectation, reward and restraint. The ruler who understands the power of withholding sees the world not as a series of events, but as a landscape of instincts, desires, ambitions, and fears, all waiting to be measured, all waiting to be guided, all waiting to be disciplined. To give less is to teach. To withhold is to govern. To command is to shape, not merely action, but thought, desire, and aspiration. Every alliance carries a hidden ledger, written not in words, but in unspoken expectations. Do not be seduced by proximity or flattered by feigned devotion. Observe the subtle tremors in every gesture, the hesitation in every reply, the calculated overtones in every compliment. Those who claim loyalty may harbor ambition. Those who appear indifferent may harbor cunning. Every interaction is a test, every concession a trap, every silence a revelation. To give freely in such a landscape is to surrender insight. To withhold is to illuminate the true architecture of intent without confrontation. Betrayal is not always visible, nor always dramatic. It is often quiet, subtle, and waiting for the precise moment when restraint bends to indulgence. The wise ruler anticipates treachery by creating the conditions that reveal it. Let desires remain unfulfilled, opportunities ungranted, favors withheld. In that vacuum, character is exposed, allegiances are measured, and ambitions are laid bare. Those who maneuver in shadows reveal themselves in the spaces between what is given and what is withheld. Power is exercised not by overt dominance, but by shaping the arena in which betrayal becomes apparent before it is acted upon. Manipulation is not deception, it is architecture. Each omission, each delayed concession, each measured indulgence constructs a web of influence. Let them believe they act freely, that their choices are their own, while every step, every motion, every aspiration unfolds along paths you have subtly designed. In the theater of control, the ruler is unseen yet omnipresent. The hand that withholds is the hand that guides, and every unfulfilled desire becomes a silent instrument of obedience. Ambition is a mirror, and scarcity is the light that reveals its true reflection. Those who seek without pause are often the most disciplined under restraint. Those who scheme under indulgence are the most treacherous when limits are imposed. To withhold is to observe, to measure, to discern. Those who falter under scarcity are weak. Those who endure are allies. Those who resist are threats. In every interaction, the ruler reads the patterns, notes the reactions, and adjusts the architecture of expectation to maintain dominion. Fear and respect are intertwined, yet distinct. Respect emerges from restraint, the disciplined modulation of attention, favor, and indulgence. Fear emerges from the quiet acknowledgement that every desire is contingent, every expectation provisional, and every step may be met with deliberate denial. Those who understand this act within boundaries, those who do not reveal themselves. To cultivate both is to govern without spectacle, to command without confrontation, to shape loyalty and ambition invisibly. Observation is as essential as action. Each word spoken, each request made, each gesture offered is data to be gathered, analyzed, and acted upon. The ruler who gives freely blinds himself to the contours of human intent. The ruler who withholds sees clearly. In restraint, patterns emerge, allegiances solidify, and ambition aligns with the structure of influence. Control is not the act of domination, but the art of shaping behavior and desire before it manifests. The silent orchestration of obedience through scarcity, tension, and expectation. Let them hunger, let them strive, let them measure the distance between want and fulfillment. In that hunger, obedience is forged. In that striving, loyalty is tested. In that measured tension, power consolidates. To give less is not cruelty. To control more is not tyranny. It is the patient, precise exercise of influence, the invisible architecture of authority, the quiet dominion that shapes thought, desire, and action without spectacle or excess. The ruler who masters withholding commands not only the actions of others, but the contours of their ambition, the limits of their expectation, and the architecture of their loyalty. Power, like water, flows silently, shaping the landscape in its own image. Those who resist reveal themselves. Those who endure serve. Those who anticipate become instruments of influence. To give less is to command more. To withhold is to rule. And in the patient calibration of scarcity, the machinery of authority becomes eternal, unassailable, and unseen. Every favor carries a weight, every concession a cost, though neither may be immediately visible. Those who seek your indulgence will measure your generosity against expectation. Those who accept it without reflection reveal themselves as tools, or worse, as liabilities. The ruler who understands the architecture of withholding treats each interaction as a balance of power, weighing desire against discretion, demand against provision, loyalty against temptation. In the space between what is given and what is withheld, the mind bends to the shape of authority, the instincts align with the silent hand, and the machinery of control functions without overt coercion. Alliances are forged in the crucible of scarcity. Those who share too much dissolve the tension that defines loyalty. Those who grant without restraint expose weakness that invites exploitation. Let your generosity be measured, your attention selective, your concessions deliberate. In this calculus, every observer becomes a participant in the subtle negotiation of power. Every subordinate is a candidate for scrutiny, and every apparent ally reveals the contours of ambition through what they ask for and what they are denied. Silence is a weapon, subtle and absolute. Do not mistake it for passivity, nor underestimate its force. Every pause in response, every withheld explanation, every absence of comment communicates more than words ever could. Those who interpret silence correctly act with care. Those who misinterpret it stumble. To wield silence is to sculpt the expectations of others, to frame the possibilities of action, to delineate the invisible boundaries within which ambition may operate. In this, the ruler does not speak authority, he embodies it. Deception is the shadow of withholding. Do not deceive recklessly, nor allow artifice to dominate truth. Let the half-truth guide, let ambiguity instruct, let suggestion insinuate. The wise ruler knows that influence is strengthened when the other perceives freedom, when the mind believes it is unshackled, and when desire is gently constrained by the invisible hand of control. In the architecture of human ambition, it is the unseen line, the withheld favor, the measured denial that secures obedience more reliably than edicts or threats. Observation is relentless. Every reaction, every hesitation, every subtle change in posture, tone, or expression is data. Those who crave indulgence reveal their priorities. Those who remain patient demonstrate discipline. Those who plot betrayal expose themselves under the strain of restraint. In each interaction, the ruler gathers intelligence silently, catalogues character meticulously, and shapes behavior through calculated omission. Power is not conferred through abundance, it is sculpted in scarcity, patience, and strategic delay. The theater of appearance is infinite. Let them see calm when you withhold, patience when you delay, and decisiveness when you grant. Let them interpret these gestures as they will, constrained only by the architecture you have imposed. Every perception becomes a tool, every assumption an instrument. The ruler who masters this theater commands not through spectacle, but through the invisible shaping of reality, bending expectations, aligning ambition, and calibrating desire without ever raising his hand. Fear and respect are sisters, bound in silence and subtlety. Respect arises from the perception of restraint. Fear arises from the awareness of contingency. Those who act within the bounds of expectation honor the invisible architecture. Those who test its limits reveal the edges of their own ambition. Cultivate both without display. Enforce both without confrontation. The equilibrium of these forces ensures that loyalty is not enforced, but internalized, obedience not compelled, but instinctive. To give less is to assert power. To withhold is to educate. To manage scarcity is to govern. Every decision is an instrument, every omission a strategy, every pause a lesson. Those who understand the rules bend their ambitions to your will. Those who resist reveal themselves. Those who endure confirm their utility. Authority, exercised invisibly, becomes unchallengeable, influence unassailable, and loyalty unshakable. The moment of temptation is the moment of truth. Those who approach with calculated audacity reveal not only desire but character. Every request, every expectation, every maneuver is an opportunity to measure ambition against discipline. To grant too quickly is to erode authority. To withhold without design is to invite frustration without clarity. The ruler who understands the power of withholding does not act from impulse, but from architecture. Every denial is precise, every delay deliberate, every concession measured. In this geometry of influence, behavior is guided not by orders but by instinct, not by compulsion but by necessity, not by loyalty alone but by the careful orchestration of desire. Betrayal thrives in abundance, in indulgence, in the presumption that all things are permanent. Let scarcity be the crucible in which true allegiance is revealed. Let expectation meet patience, and desire confront restraint. Those who survive this trial are tempered, disciplined, and reliable. Those who fail expose their intentions, their weaknesses, their limits. To withhold is not merely to restrict, it is to illuminate, to clarify, to instruct without words. The absence of indulgence becomes the instrument by which loyalty is tested, ambition is channeled, and power is consolidated. Ambition, like water, finds every fissure, every opening, every weakness. It cannot be destroyed. It must be contained, guided, and anticipated. By giving less, the ruler channels its course. By withholding, he maps the terrain. By measuring the response, he identifies both allies and adversaries. Control is never brute. It is architectural, precise, and invisible. Those who think themselves free under your restraint are in fact the most reliable instruments of your will. Those who resist reveal themselves as threats to be managed or removed. Alliances are fragile, loyalty is conditional, and the machinery of influence is delicate. Every interaction is a negotiation, every omission a strategy, every favor a calculated instrument. Do not confuse proximity with fidelity, nor friendliness with trust. Observe, measure, and anticipate. In restraint, the contours of human intent are revealed. In withholding, the structures of ambition are mapped. In the patient orchestration of scarcity, the architecture of power solidifies. The ruler's presence is measured not in action alone, but in anticipation. Every silence, every withheld favor, every delayed concession communicates authority more effectively than command. Let them feel the weight of absence, the tension of unfulfilled desire, the uncertainty of expectation. In this space, instincts align, ambition is disciplined, and loyalty becomes not a matter of compulsion, but of choice, guided by the invisible hand of restraint. Every act of withholding is an instruction, every pause a lesson, every denial a calibration. To give is to shape, to withhold is to govern, and to observe is to command. The ruler who masters this dynamic understands that influence is not granted by abundance, but secured through scarcity, that obedience is not imposed but cultivated, and that the architecture of power is invisible yet omnipresent, subtle yet absolute. Those who navigate the architecture of scarcity, who understand the rhythm of denial and the cadence of indulgence, become instruments of authority. Those who stumble, who demand without patience, who misinterpret absence for weakness, reveal themselves. In every interaction, the ruler reads the unspoken, measures the unseen, and shapes the terrain of ambition with precision. To withhold is not cruelty, it is mastery. To give less is not deprivation, it is control. And in the measured orchestration of scarcity, the machinery of power operates without spectacle, without excess, and without error. The hunger you cultivate is itself a tool. Desire, when disciplined, becomes obedience. Ambition, when restrained, becomes loyalty. Those who are never tested by scarcity grow restless and entitled. Those who are measured by absence learn patience, discernment, and the architecture of power. Every unfulfilled expectation is a lesson in self-restraint. Every denied request is a window into character. The ruler does not teach with words alone, but with the deliberate shaping of opportunity, the careful modulation of access, and the silent orchestration of need. Trust is earned, suspicion is constant, and vigilance is eternal. Those who serve most loyally are often the first to falter when indulgence becomes routine. To withhold is to test, to observe, to refine. Let them seek, let them strive, let them desire, and in their striving, measure the depth of allegiance. The ruler who acts too quickly, who satisfies without calculation, dilutes authority. The ruler who withholds without discernment provokes frustration. Mastery lies in the balance, in the patient calibration of reward and denial, in the silent shaping of instinct and expectation. The art of control is subtle. Do not confront ambition directly. Do not attempt to crush desire openly. Instead, sculpt it, channel it, bend it without breaking. Every request denied, every favor delayed, every indulgence measured is a brushstroke in the invisible painting of obedience. Those who think themselves free under your hand are the most reliable allies. Those who resist, the clearest threats. In this architecture of influence, nothing is wasted, nothing is coincidental, and every action, even in absence, carries consequence. Observation is relentless. Every glance, every pause, every hesitation is data. Every gesture, every tone, every nuance is revelation. Those who act without patience expose themselves. Those who endure reveal reliability. Those who plot in shadows expose ambition. To withhold is not merely an act of restraint. It is an instrument of insight, a mechanism of power, a lens through which human nature is read and interpreted. The ruler who masters this sees all without spectacle, commands all without violence, and governs all without fatigue. The theater of appearances is infinite. Let them witness calm in denial, patience in delay, and decisiveness in provision. Let them interpret, speculate, and calculate within the bounds you have imposed. In this, the mind bends to the architecture of influence. Desire aligns with expectation, and loyalty emerges organically. Every unfulfilled request is a lesson. Every measured concession, a demonstration. Every pause, a strategy. The mastery of withholding is the mastery of the human will, the calibration of ambition, and the invisible shaping of allegiance. Even fear, when disciplined, becomes a tool, not terror, but the quiet, persistent understanding that every desire is contingent, every expectation provisional, every step measured. Those who grasp this act within boundaries, those who fail reveal themselves. To cultivate fear without spectacle is to govern without resistance, to command without confrontation, and to ensure obedience without resentment. In the patient orchestration of scarcity, control becomes invisible, unchallengeable, and eternal. In the end, the ruler who gives less commands more. Every favor measured, every indulgence withheld, every silence deliberate, and every observation meticulous constructs a world in which loyalty, ambition, and obedience are aligned with the architecture of power. The machinery of influence functions quietly, invisibly, and inexorably. Those who adapt endure. Those who resist falter. Those who persist serve. To withhold is to teach. To give less is to command. And in the patient calibration of scarcity, the dominion of the ruler is complete. Every act of restraint is an exercise in revelation. Those who demand too much reveal impatience. Those who endure scarcity reveal discipline. To give freely is to obscure the truth of character. To withhold strategically is to illuminate it. In the subtle calculus of power, absence teaches, denial instructs, and measured indulgence guides. The ruler who understands this does not merely control actions, he shapes ambition, molds desire, and calibrates loyalty without spectacle, without threat, without indulgence. The mind bends to scarcity. The heart conforms to expectation. Those who act under restraint learn the architecture of obedience. Those who falter reveal the limits of ambition, and those who resist expose their intentions. Every favor delayed is a lesson in patience. Every indulgence withheld is a test of allegiance. In this invisible theater, control is exercised not by force, but by expectation, by tension, by the quiet orchestration of want and need. Alliances are fragile, loyalty conditional, ambition relentless. The ruler who grants too quickly invites exploitation. The ruler who withholds without purpose invites resentment. Mastery lies in the deliberate modulation of access, attention, and reward. Let desire strain against restraint. Let ambition meet patience, and let every unfulfilled request become an instrument of observation. In this balance, the ruler reads character, measures fidelity, and consolidates authority with precision. To give less is to teach. To withhold is to govern. To observe is to command. In the quiet architecture of scarcity, the machinery of influence operates unseen, shaping the contours of loyalty, ambition, and obedience. Those who endure become allies, those who resist reveal threats, and those who anticipate align with the invisible hand of authority. Power is never displayed. It is exercised in absence, in restraint, in the patient orchestration of desire. To give less is to control more, and in the subtle mastery of withholding, dominion becomes absolute, imperceptible, and eternal. And so it comes to this. The ruler's greatest weapon is not the sword, nor the threat, nor the favor lavishly given it is the careful architecture of absence. To withhold is not cruelty, it is clarity. To deny without anger is not weakness, it is strategy. Those who seek indulgence are drawn into the rhythm of expectation and restraint, and in that rhythm, the soul of power asserts itself. Every glance, every word unsaid, every favor delayed is a lesson in authority, a calibration of desire, a revelation of character. In the mastery of withholding, the ruler becomes invisible yet omnipresent. He is the force that guides without pressure, the shadow that teaches without words, the silence that commands without threat. Those who act under his hand bend instinctively to the architecture he constructs. Those who resist are revealed, their ambitions laid bare, their loyalties measured. Obedience is not coerced, it is internalized. Loyalty is not purchased, it is disciplined. Influence is not granted, it is sculpted from the raw material of human instinct, desire, and fear. Let it be understood, to give less is to control more. Every indulgence granted recklessly dilutes authority. Every denial exercised without precision provokes unrest. The art lies in balance, in timing, in observation, in the subtle orchestration of scarcity. To withhold is to illuminate. To deny is to govern. To watch is to command. And in the end, when the machinery of influence hums quietly yet unerringly, when ambition is aligned with the unseen hand, and when loyalty flows not from fear, but from disciplined desire, the ruler stands alone in clarity. Power is not displayed, it is exercised. Control is not demanded, it is inherited. Dominion is not claimed, it is quietly, irrevocably established. And in the patient mastery of withholding, the architecture of authority achieves its final, unassailable perfection.